And now,
from Greater Sandton and beyond, get ready for the Sandton Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour. It's edition 237. It's week 14 of 2026. I'm Alexander Leipner, and if you're listening for the very first time, very, very special welcome to you. And if that is you, well, please drop us a line, get in touch on social media or WhatsApp, 084-726-3866, and we're not going to embarrass you or ask you to tell a joke, but it'd be great to hear from you, so just send us a hello or an emoji and check in with the show. But if you're a regular listener, you're equally as welcome to get in touch, and I know you're tuning in from Johannesburg or Pretoria, across South Africa, or anywhere or everywhere else in the world, online or on air, wherever you are. I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandtonland, and a very special shout out to our ever-growing audience around the world. I know America is climbing the charts, Nigeria, Qatar, all sorts. I mean, I'm always amazed at where people are tuning in from all around the world. So a very special acknowledgement to you. And talking about acknowledgements, but Vincenzo, we did have a bit of a technical issue last week where the system played some clip from a previous week on the broadcast to start with. So for those regular listeners who were a bit confused as to what was going on, apologies for that, and we're holding thumbs that this week all will be as it should. But if you want to catch the full show in all its glory and you didn't catch it live, you can catch it on the podcast, and I'll share the details with you in just a bit. Another shopping spot opened in Sandton this week, this time on Winnie Mandela Drive, called Sandton Gate Central. They had a ribbon cutting that I had a chance to attend, along with an opening. And the centre boasts a Woolworths, a Dis-Chem, or as I like to say, a Dis-Chem. Dis-Chem. So if you buy someone a gift, you can say, oh, I bought it at Dis-Chem. Dis-Chem. Checkers, Gary Rom, Bootleggers, P&A, and quite a few more. And there's some restaurants opening there as well. And then another Chinese car brand has also entered the chat. This time it is JMC with a new Bucky entering the market, coming in at a very competitive price point as well, and making its debut. And I think it's the same distributors as that GAC brand, which I haven't heard too much about since they launched some time ago. So it's a fierce market out on the roads, let me tell you. Right, what's coming up in the next hour? In a bit, I'll be chatting to one of the driving forces behind one of South Africa's most successful hospitality brands to find out a bit more about their revamped flagship eatery in Sandton, so don't miss that. Then there's an all-inclusive development taking shape on the east coast of South Africa, and I'll try and find out a bit more about this, so stick around for that. As always, I then catch up with our regular entertainment commentator to take a look at the latest entertainment releasing on your screens this week. And it's a short week this week, or Easter weekend coming up next weekend. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be going away. They're going to be making plans. And if you're not going away, well, you're going to want to know what to do. So we might have something for you. And finally, with the Easter weekend around the corner, as mentioned, I take a look at an equestrian fest taking place in Kyalami. So stick around for that. A fabulous hour up ahead, but as always, I'd like to hear from you. So if you would like to get in touch, send through your questions, comments, and feedback, and we might just play it out, or we might just share it on the show, or we might just keep it to ourselves. You can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za. You can connect on social media @SandtonTimes. You can use the WhatsApp number exclusive to the Sandton Times Hour, 084-SANTON, 084-726-3866. Save it, use it, send us a voice note. Website, you can visit sandtontimes.co.za. And if you're not part of the podcast community, be sure to subscribe to the Sandton Times Hour, and you'll always get the show as it's meant to sound on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, AfroPods, Podcast Party. Just so many to mention, but there's a lot. But as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
In the ever-evolving theatre that is Nelson Mandela Square, a familiar favourite has stepped back into the spotlight, this time with a distinctly Mediterranean swagger. 11 years on, Tashas Nelson Mandela Square has reopened its doors, reimagined and reinvigorated, drawing inspiration from the sun-drenched elegance of Marbella. A place I haven't been to, but I do believe it is synonymous with effortless glamour, long lunches, and vibrant social energy. Joining me in a minute is Savva Sideris, part of the powerhouse behind the Tashas Group, who joins us to unpack how this iconic Sandton destination has been reshaped into a space where Africa meets Marbella. And the craftsmanship of local artisans have refreshed as well as the culinary direction. And of course, it leans into bold social dining. This is more than just a reopening. And we're going to find out a little bit more about this from Savva Sideris, who I'd like to welcome on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Savva, before we get into all things Nelson Mandela Square, I know you guys have had a very, very busy time. You've been opening up new stores. You've been expanding globally. There's obviously a lot of things happening in the Middle East where you've got a very strong presence. How are you all coping?
Yeah, we're doing good under the circumstances. And today, there's a saying, when it rains, it storms. So there's huge storms in Dubai as well. So
yeah,
we're against all odds, but we're surviving. We're surviving.
Fantastic.
It's going well.
I suppose it's part of the adventure of being an entrepreneur and running a business in 2026. But more so, I mean, at the same time, you're celebrating this milestone, 11 years at Nelson Mandela Square. And why did you feel that this was the right moment to kind of reimagine the store that was pretty much doing, I think, pretty well? I think this must be like your flagship store in South Africa.
Yes, it is. It is our flagship store, being at Mandela Square, where it's iconic. But what happens is people do get tired after 11 years. And you need to reinvent yourself and reimagine the interiors and the food. So I think it was the right time. I think it was actually delayed a bit. We could have done it sooner, but it's been an amazing success, the renovation. People are loving it.
What are some of the things that you've changed? I know we had a chance to have a really lovely lunch there this week. You've kind of sort of moved the flamingo room out. You've made everything sort of the same look and feel. I see you've added more plants into the space.
Yeah, so we've done quite a bit there. We did quite an extensive renovation. We spent over 8 million on the renovation. Originally, it was a pop-up flamingo room within a Tashas. And what we did is we made it one store now, one Tashas store.
Okay. This fascination with Marbella, how do you translate that Marbella look and feel and passion into something that still feels authentically South African and Sandton? Because I suppose people who come and eat with you from overseas are expecting, sort of the leopard print and sort of things that are South African.
So I think because of Tashas travels and our travels, we travel a lot, we go overseas a lot. We thought that the Marbella look would work well because a lot of internationals, a lot of people know that type of look and feel. It's like the south of France or Mediterranean. So it would speak to the audience. And that's why we did that look and feel. It has got a bit of Africa twist to it. I don't know if you saw the interior. We still kept a few African elements. But we thought it would work for the clientele, for all the internationals.
I mean, one of the things that Tashas also does unbelievably well, apart from its food, is this focus on bringing in very unique and different elements in the decor. I mean, some of the stuff looks like it's a lot of work. It's not something you just bought off a shelf and just stuck in a room. You've really had to curate it. There's craftsmanship involved. There's collaboration. What kind of role did local artists play in shaping this new space?
So everything that we've done is all local artists or local artisans. Nothing is imported. So the chairs, the cane furniture, it's a guy called Corey. It's a South African guy. He's had his business for 40 years. He did all our beautiful cane furniture. All the metal work, also a South African artist did all our metal furniture. We saw the beautiful entrance. Nothing's been bought off a shelf or from a factory. Everything's been designed and made bespoke for us.
You've also done a bit of an upgrade and a change to the menu. And I suppose this is always a bit of a tricky one with Tashas because I know that there are some absolute diehard favorites that people would protest if you had to remove them from the menu. But you do also have to reinvent and evolve, as you say, and bring in some new things. How do you balance those two? And what new items have you brought into the menu that you're trying out?
So what's very important to know, as you know, Tashas has got a classic menu. So that's for all the diehards, all our regulars that come. And so you can come and get your regular food that you enjoy. And then our signature menu, we went very Mediterranean there. Again, to speak to the audience because of the international market that come to Nelson Mandela Square. We've done a lot of tapas, a lot of sharing dishes.
We had some great burgers. We had some wonderful chicken kebabs.
The chicken thighs.
Yeah, amazing. Yes. There was sort of almost like a hummus, like a green hummus sort of dip that comes with pizza. Yes, I mean, there was nothing on the menu. And then the cheesecake. I mean, if you haven't gone for the cheesecake with the candied figs, you haven't lived. I mean, if there's anything you have to go for, you have to go and try that. I mean, that really stood out.
So that cheesecake is quite famous. It's one of our cheesecakes from Dubai, one of our recipes, and it's very popular. And we actually got our chef, our pastry chef, Dennis, that looks after all our pastries in Dubai. We actually flew him over, especially to train our staff for that cheesecake because it's a winner. It's unbelievable.
Well, listen, that was an airline ticket worth spending money on, because I'm sure the amount of cheesecake you're going to sell afterwards is going to make right with that trip, let me tell you. But listen, Savva, looking ahead, what does this reopening mean to you and the future direction of Tashas Group? Because I know you're making some massive inroads in Cape Town as well. You've opened some new concepts. You're going into different directions. Does this sort of bring a new wind into the sails?
Sure, guys, it does. I'll just speak. We know we got a partner, Melissa. She's our partner at Nelson Mandela Square, and we're saying that the renovation and innovating is so important in the restaurant business to keep up with the times. We're doing double the turnover of what we were doing previously.
Unreal.
So it just shows you that innovation and keeping up with the times is so important. We're doing a lot of things this year. We're opening 4 new stores this year. Another Tashas in 4 ways called the View, and then we're doing the Le Parc brand, which is another brand of ours in Hyde Park. It's a French themed brand, and we're opening soon in Polo Fields in Midrand, and then we're opening one in Mully Point, and hopefully another one in Johannesburg. So there'll be 3 the parks this year.
It sounds unbelievable. You've got so much on the go, and as I say, dealing with all the current socioeconomic things happening globally. Savva, before I let you go, has there been any interest from like secondary markets to see Tashas opening in places like Nelspruit, Mbombela, the Durban area, or Bloemfontein, or places that aren't your usual sort of metropolitan sort of areas? Yes,
we have actually, and we're going to start investigating them quite vastly. We're going to start looking at them. I think there's definitely opportunity in those areas.
Tremendous.
We have been approached.
Well, Savva Sideris, one of the co-founders and also responsible for development at the Tashas Group. A busy man. I'm going to let you go, Savva. But listen, thank you for making the time and for chatting to us on the Sandton Times Hour.
Alex, thank you. Thanks for your time.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
You might have heard some murmurings of a Club Med opening on the east coast of South Africa in the coming months. And in fact, in July 2026, Club Med will officially open its very first resort in the country right on the coastline of Tinley Manor. Billed as one of the largest resort developments in South Africa, the new Club Med South Africa Beach and Safari will feature 400 rooms, multiple pools, restaurants, bars, and a wide range of activities, all presented in a Club Med all-inclusive experience. Now, I must be candid, I haven't experienced the Club Med offering at all, so I can't really give you much of an impression of what makes it unique or different, or what that looks like. It is considered, however, to be the most expensive resort development ever in South Africa, with a projected cost of just over 2 billion rand, although that isn't completely technically true. The Lost City complex back in 1992 cost 830 million to construct. Now, if you take 830 million back in 1992, do a bit of calculation, you'll probably get to about well over 5 to 10 billion rand in 2026. Accounting for over 3 decades of construction inflation, currency depreciation, and specialized luxury material costs. However, 2 billion rand investment in the country, nothing to sneeze at. And what's really capturing the attention, though, is the unique dual offering of a blend of beach escape and optional safari adventure, something that is proving especially popular with international travelers, particularly from Europe. To try and get some sort of understanding of what this new development is about, I caught up with Camille Janse van Rensburg. She's head of sales for trade and meetings, incentives, conferences, and events at Club Med at a recent travel expo in Sandton to unpack what makes this development so significant, what you might be able to expect, and why this global brand is betting big on South Africa. I kicked off our chat by asking her, what is a Club Med resort?
Club Med is the pioneer of the all-inclusive concept. It's something that we are incredibly proud of. After 75 years in the industry, we have become incredibly good at our all-inclusive offering. So that means when you go to a Club Med, it's all your drinks, all your food, your entertainment, your sports and activities, and your kids clubs, which is really important. Something that we hold true to our value system is taking care of the entire family in their stay at any Club Med globally.
The one thing about Club Med that might be a little bit different to other businesses is that you're not just focused on tropical island resorts. You also have a winter offering, which is quite unique.
Absolutely. A big part of our role within the South African travel industry is to create and nurture the ski culture that we have. So all-inclusive ski is something we do incredibly well. When you come skiing with a Club Med, it includes, again, the standard all-inclusive, so all your drinks, all your food, your activities, your kids clubs, and then over and above that, your ski lessons and your ski pass. This is really important because when you add those on when you do go skiing, it can become very pricey. One of the other really fantastic things that we offer is when you pay your deposit, we fix the exchange rate. So the price that you purchase the package at is the same price that you buy or that you pay for come your actual departure.
You've got a brand new development taking place on the east coast of South Africa. It's the first Club Med in South Africa, and I think it's probably also one of the first all-inclusives as we know them globally in the country. Just talk us through that.
We are incredibly excited about this project. It has been probably about 19 years in the making, so a long build-up period and a lot of research and engaging with the community in bringing this project to light for Club Med. It's a 2 billion rand investment, which makes us really proud because it's local. It's all local investment. Besides it being a fantastic facility of having 411 rooms, which is really sizable for our country, it's the first, as you mentioned, proper all-inclusive for Club Med standard in South Africa. And it also offers other facilities such as conferencing. We have a conference center that seats up to 500 people, which is massive for the local corporate market because it's been a long time since something that sizable has come onto the market.
It's a sea and safari offering on the East Coast. Is this exclusively for international visitors, or will this also be something that South Africans will be able to take full advantage of?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, there are two separate resorts. So we've got the beach resort in Tinley Manor, just north of Belito in KZN. And then we've got our safari resort, which is just outside of Pongola. Currently, we sell it as a package where you can purchase beach and you can purchase our safari offering. However, you can purchase beach by itself too. So there's absolutely no exclusion whether you're an international guest or a local guest.
And pricing-wise, will it be priced for a South African audience as well, or will it be sitting at quite a premium?
So we have a general strategy of pricing parity. So whether you are attending or visiting a resort in Greece or in South Africa, our price parity allows us to provide the same quality of service and experience across the globe.
Some people might be concerned when going into sort of a resort environment that it's almost sort of like a bubble wherever they are. It's sort of like, you get that experience, but you might not get in touch with the local experience or the experience that you're expecting from a place like Greece or France or Mauritius or maybe even the East Coast. How do you work around that?
So it is part of our just general value system. When we open a local resort in whichever country, we put a lot of emphasis on incorporating local foods, local traditions, local cultures. So that just runs part of our Club Med DNA. We also offer a lot of excursions where we've partnered with our local providers so that, for a foreigner, for example, they would really still get that traditional South African experience, even though they are staying within a Club Med. So if they want to go out and explore, we have all the facilities and all the partnerships set up to really embrace that love for our culture. Or if they want to stay in resort, they will also get the local flavors and touches of South African traditional culture.
How would you cater to solo travelers, couples, groups of friends, if Club Med might be perceived more of like a family resort? Is there a bit of wiggle room, or are they sort of divided up in different ways?
Absolutely. So across the board, our brand caters for all sorts of travelers. We have dedicated adult zones, which we call Zen zones. That's where adults can go, and it's only for over 18s. They can go relax, they can sit by the pool, enjoy the view of the sea, and it's exclusively for an adult area. The rest of the resort, because it's such a big resort, you honestly don't feel the capacities, if I can say that. Often you find generally your kids will be in the kids clubs, enjoying themselves, partaking in different activities, sports, etc. And there's such a variety that it spreads the experience across the different parts of the resort.
Camille Janse van Rensburg, Head of Sales, Trade and Mice for Club Med, providing some insights into Club Med South Africa Beach and Safari.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
So as we head into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour, my name's Alexander Leipner, and if there's anything that sounded interesting, inspiring, you wanted to get some more details, you didn't get the details, well, you can go onto the show notes on the website, sandtontimes.co.za, and there's a detailed breakdown for you of everything discussed on the show with some additional links, some additional reading, and some additional information. Also, be sure to check out the social media accounts at Sandton Times or hop onto the WhatsApp 084 Sandton. That's 084 726 3866. 084 726 3866. And feel free to send through your voice notes, text messages, and so much more. And that's the exclusive Sandton Times Hour WhatsApp line. So make sure that you make use of that. It's time to connect with Tat Wolfen, our regular entertainment commentator. And Tat, what's in the pipeline for entertainment this week?
Today I'd like to talk a little bit about theatre and also touch on a really noteworthy show on streaming.
Okay, great.
Now, the Naledi Theatre Awards happened last week. And the ceremony highlighted some of the great shows I've seen this past year, including some that I now regret having missed. I was sorry to see that the dumb waiter that had played at Theatre on the Square really didn't get the recognition it deserved, and neither did Dear Evan Hansen, which played to packed houses on Broadway, but really played to half-empty houses at the Teatro. But, I guess we always feel this way at awards shows where we think that something was underrated and it should have done better in the awards. But I guess some shows win some shows lose some. There were shows that had played at Theatre on the Square and at Teatro and Turin theatres that did pick up numerous awards, however.
Okay.
But my big issue, though, with the Naledis was how many Joburgers were even aware of the Naledi Awards or what they even are? And I'm sorry to say this, but the Naledis really need to pick up on their public outreach and their PR. The awards were broadcast live on SAS TV, which is South African Streaming TV, I think it's called, and that's a branch of SABC.
Okay.
It's one of their free streaming channels, I believe. But who watched it? I think it was only the parents of the nominees that watched the live stream. And you know what? There were some personalities that came up on stage with that usual gripe, we need to get more money from government. Now, I'm not a believer in that because I think that taxpayers who don't enjoy theatre shouldn't be funding theatre any more than taxpayers who don't enjoy sports shouldn't be funding sports. I believe in voting with one's wallet. So if you enjoy theatre, you'd better get out there and support theatre. Buy tickets, go watch plays, go watch shows. If you enjoy sports, support sports. Watch the live broadcasts, go to the stadia, buy tickets. But I don't think that tax money should be supporting our different interests. And after all, there's no money in the public purse. There isn't even money to fix potholes on the roads or fix the electricity system or the water network. So I really don't think there's a lot of spare cash in there. And I'm not going to go into why there isn't. That's another story for another platform at another time.
Okay.
But moving on, before I become controversial, as is my want, let's get onto the streaming services. Now, you know that I'm not a huge fan of Netflix, although every now and then something will catch my eye, especially if it has an interesting title.
Okay.
Jeff Ross, Take a Banana for the Ride. Now, if that isn't an interesting title, what is? It's billed as a stand-up comedy special, so I thought, you know what, I could do with a good few chortles here and there, so let's watch this show. Now, I had no idea what I would encounter, okay? This is a whole lot more than just a stand-up comedy show. So he tells his life story and that of his family right back to before he was born. It's a tight-knit Jewish New Jersey family whose livelihoods were largely tied to what today would probably be called an events venue that was owned and run by his grandmother, who, by all accounts, was quite the matriarch. He also speaks of his career and his recent cancer scare, and behind him on this large screen are a whole bunch of picture frames. And as he speaks, so home movie footage or archival photos play out in those various frames. Now, whether you're Jewish or you've lost a parent at an early age, or you've had grandparents who are vital figures in your life, or you've found redemption in the love of a pet, there are just so many parts to his story that people will find, where people will find something that they can relate to. And ultimately, you will relate to him as a human being, because his show is really so human. He takes us on this powerful emotional roller coaster, and I guess along with Shakespeare reminds us that laughter and tears are the closest companions. I can't recommend this show enough, Alex. It's called Jeff Ross, Take a Banana for the Ride, and it's streaming on Netflix. And I guess I'll be off now, so I'll take a banana for the ride.
And Tat, before I say goodbye, also don't forget the new Super Mario Galaxy movie hits cinemas as well on the 1st of April. And that's something for the kids to look forward to, especially over the coming break. And Tat, let's do it all again next week.
Yeah, looking forward to catching you again next week, same time, same place.
Tremendous. Tat Wolfen there with Jeff Ross, Take a Banana for the Ride on Netflix, as well as looking back at the Naledi Awards that took place in Pretoria, I believe it is, this past week.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
From thundering hooves to pinpoint precision, few sporting spectacles capture the imagination quite like equestrian sports. And this Easter, it's all unfolding at Kyalami Park Club. It's the 2026 Toyota Easter Festival, which promises 10 days of world-class competition, family-friendly energy, and a celebration of the unique bond between horses and riders, all set against the backdrop of one of South Africa's premier equestrian venues. Firmly established as a highlight on the national sporting calendar and powered by its ongoing partnership with Toyota, the festival has grown into a dynamic showcase of talent, passion, and performance, featuring over 5,000 entries across disciplines from dressage to show jumping. And at the center of it all is Heather Mpofu, driving an event that blends elite sport with a vibrant, accessible festival atmosphere. Heather joins us now to take us into the Easter Festival, where the competition is fierce, the stakes are high, and the spirit of the sport is very much alive. And Heather, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on. I know this is something that we've also chatted about in previous years, and I actually can't believe it's Easter again, and I can't believe it's this time where we talk about dressage and show jumping again. But this is an event that has grown significantly and probably still quite small in the greater scheme of things, but there seems to be a growing interest in equestrian sports, even though, as I say, it's quite a very niche sport.
You know what? Our event is going bigger and bigger. If I tell you that last year we had more classes than we do this year. However, the numbers still remain, if not a little bit more than we had last year. So it shows you that people are wanting to come in and support this event.
The Kyalami Park Club, what makes this venue so special for both riders and spectators?
In our sport, Kyalami Park Club is the heart of Africa per se. There is no other venue like it in the whole of Africa. And I've also had judges coming from overseas, from your UK, and they look at our venue and they're so amazed, and they're like, we don't have this back home. So it is one of those prestigious venues that is the heart of the equestrian sport.
Okay. Well, let's get into those equestrian sports. So we're going to do a little bit of a crash course for those who are not familiar with all these different disciplines. So you've got 4 major disciplines. You've got dressage, which from my memory is the one where the horses are beautifully groomed and they sort of almost dance to the music. Have I got that right?
That is very true. You see, you're learning.
Have I missed anything there? Or is that a good summary?
That is a very good summary. It's
okay.
A very good summary. To a layman, the dressage horses are the dancers. They dance to patterns.
Okay.
They make patterns as they are dancing, and sometimes they dance to music as well.
We've ticked that box. Now, equitation. I don't think I've ever heard of equitation. What discipline is that?
So equitation involves a lot of jumping and some flat work. So it shows the expertise of the rider. So there we are not testing the horse, we are testing the rider's abilities.
So it's not the same as show jumping?
It's quite similar to show jumping, but that's where, in most cases you'll find that equitation, that's where a lot of our young children, our juniors compete a lot, and those that are coming into show jumping, because that's where they gain the proper skill to ride.
Okay, all right.
And jump.
Okay,
Yes.
so then to clarify, show jumping is then the one that most of us probably also know from the Olympics and from these big TV shows that we see, where the horse is running a gauntlet of different level barriers and things to jump over in the fastest time, hey?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's the fastest time and with no faults. So you're not dropping poles, you're not stopping.
Okay, and you're not falling off either.
You're not falling off either.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then the last one I've got here for the fourth one is called showing. Now that's also something I'm not familiar with. What is showing?
That is a beauty pageant for horses in layman's terms. So we are looking at the beauty of the horse, how the horse walks, how it moves, its movement, how beautiful it looks, and the rider is expected to show off what their horse is able to do and its movements.
So also, once again, quite similar to dressage.
Quite similar to dressage.
But different.
And you'll find that most riders that ride dressage, they also ride in showing.
Okay.
Because the two complement each other.
Now, how do you judge what's a pretty horse? What are you judging the horse on? Is it the quality of the mane? Is it the muscular structure of the horse? What are we looking for?
It's basically everything. It's physical features. It's how it's built, how it moves. Does it move in an engaged sound manner? It's not looking floppy. It's not. It's different aspects. And I promise you, I don't want to be a showing judge, because it's quite hectic. And I think, you have to take away your prejudice of what kind of horse you like to be able to judge all different types of horses that we have.
Okay, well, this is quite interesting. And then you've also got the Grand Prix, which is the highlight of the show. What does that consist of? How do I compete in the Grand Prix, and how does it work?
You have to put in years of work, eh?
Oh, wow.
Years of work. You're going to jump the first round, which is a longer course. And then you've got a second round, which is a shortened course. And then if there is equality in terms of penalties, so if we've got clears, so then the clears will go off to the jump off. So that tests your physique as a rider and the physique of the horse as well. Being able to do all that work all in a day and within a matter of hour or 2 hours that the class runs. So it's quite a lot, and only 25%, by the way, of the competitors that would have qualified. So we qualify only 30 into this outdoor Grand Prix, and 25% make it to the second round, or all the clears. If the clears are more than 25%, then we take all the clears, but only 25% make it to the second round. And then after the second round, it's equality of penalties. Then we go to the jump off.
Well, certainly a good mix of horsey things to see and do when you're there. Outside of the equestrian activities, what else can people expect at the festival this weekend?
We have a buzzing vendor village, so you do a lot of shopping for yourself. Got equestrian products and non-equestrian products. Then this year we have got a whole array of activities that our sponsor Toyota has helped us to put together. So if you come through this weekend, you can do a sip and paint. You've got the horses in the background. You are painting whatever your heart desires, and you're relaxing. And the children have got a kiddies area. We'll have various egg hunts. We will also have various machines where kids can play and win toys. We also are going to have some simulators for the ones that want to try out various Toyota vehicles. So we have got quite a lot scheduled, and the sip and paint is also going to be in the next week, and we have quite a lot. So people should just come through. Everybody is catered for, children, adults, everyone.
Okay, fantastic. Well, and just don't sip and ride. It's not good.
And definitely, we are not going to make our riders sip and ride. We make them sip after the ride.
Sip after the ride. That's it. Heather Mpofu, she's the show director for the Toyota Easter Festival happening in Kyalami at the Kyalami Park Club until the 6th of April. And if you're here over the Easter weekend, it's certainly something you might want to go check out. And even if you've never experienced equestrian sports, this might be a great way to get yourself acquainted with the equestrian world. And Heather, it's been such a pleasure having you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Heather. And with that, we're at the end of this week's show. Feel free to send through your questions, comments, and feedback. You can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za. Connect on social media @Sandton Times or hop onto the website sandtontimes.co.za. Don't forget the WhatsApp number 084 Sandton. That's 084 726 3866 for your voice notes, text messages, and media. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or any other leading digital audio platform and join the growing community online. Thank you to all my guests who made time to be on the show this week, and thank you to the team behind the scenes pulling it all together. A special thank you to you for listening, and God willing, we'll do it all again next week.